Starting recording. Get rid of the docs there. Stream information gone. Can actually probably keep up the Twitch feed. No, that's not the one I want. Twitch stats is the one. That's it. Do you see it, Paul? Is it live? Hey. Because, boom, I'm throwing it over to the actual stream now. Hey. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Welcome to Word Books with Friends. It's episode number 28. I'm Chris.
And I'm Paul.
And thank you for joining us as we continue to reread through Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Today we're going to be talking about Chapter 5, The Whomping Willow. And as always, this episode is sponsored. This episode brought to you by the 1960 Ford Anglia. Why fly in style when you could just maybe fly? Ford Anglia.
Well, you know what? It's almost like, you know what? We're such a nondescript car. People might not be able to recognize it if they see it even in the sky. Maybe that's the game.
It's all possible. But yeah, hi, Paul. It's been a while since we've recorded one of these.
It's been at least 3 weeks. Possibly, no, 4 weeks, because our fourth episode's coming out tomorrow on our RSS feed. So if you subscribe to the Bag and Boardcast podcast, thank you so much. You'll be getting the next episode before you get to listen to, if you join us live here on Twitch, you get to read along chapters 5, 6, 7, and 8 right this week.
It's a little bit of a sneak peek for what you're going to be hopefully listening to down the road on the main feed. And also, hey, this one sounds a lot better, too, because I figured out that audio issue that was plaguing the first 4 chapters. Again, I don't know what happened.
It's kind of a bummer because I really love the conversation we do have in Chapter 4. I think, like, I was thinking about it later on, and I'm like, oh, the good place, really try to hone in on, like, what do we owe each other? Like, that was a question that they started to ask. And unfortunately, everybody just took the trolley problem and ran with it.
Yeah.
And, like, that's all that people talk about out of the good place. Well, I'm like, oh.
It's easy because it's recognizable. Because even if you know very little about philosophy, you've probably seen the trolley problem exhibited or, like, shown off somewhere else. So it just makes sense. But we're not here to talk about the good place.
No.
That'll be another side podcast that starts up maybe at some point. It won't be.
But
it's not sustainable for how much we do. But we're here to talk about Harry Potter. Chamber of Secrets, Chapter 5, The Whomping Willow. I already said all this. For Chapter 4, we did have a lot of discussion because I think that's really where it started to get into the bulk of the characters that we're going to be seeing more throughout the rest of this book. The plot still really hasn't been set up too much yet. Like, it's, all right, Harry's going back to school. Here's the troubles that he's running into before he even gets to school. So kind of setting the table with the tone a little bit more. And even here with Whomping Willow, we're still kind of getting into it because we get to meet Colin Creevey. We're jumping ahead a little bit in this one, who is a character that I forgot how much I disliked.
Yeah, well, he's kind of like the setup to let Gilderoy Lockhart be even more of a pest to Harry. Like, he's there to show off Harry Potter. Because in the first book, everybody says that Harry Potter is famous, but nobody really treats him like he's famous other than Snape being, like, kind of mean to him. And but here we get a character that's designed just to showcase how famous Harry Potter is. He's a Muggle-born, but he knows about Harry Potter, and he wants to show off to his dad that he's met him.
It's weird, though, like, how much he knows about Harry Potter, but he knows very much else about the wizarding world. Because, like, jumping ahead a couple chapters, he doesn't know anything about Quidditch, which is like the wizarding sport. So, but then he also knows that Harry Potter was like the youngest seeker in 100 years. Like,
Yeah.
so.
Well, let's say you're living in the Muggle. Well, let's say
I am living in the Muggle world.
Muggle world, and you kind of hear about this game.
Let's say this.
Like, I know you watch football, and you did follow hockey for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But how much do you really know about those two sports?
I know the basics, which are, what is a football? What is a hockey puck? Like, because that's kind of where they're at with Kali, where it's like, there's balls? What? There's positions people play? This is so far in advance.
I know there's a sport called cricket.
Cricket? You gotta know what a crumpet is to understand cricket.
Exactly. And I know there's a ball that gets rolled or thrown, but I think they call it rolling it. I have no idea. And there's wickets. And I know the games can last a very long time, and it seems crazy to me. And that's all I know of cricket.
So you've already expressed
and
more knowledge about cricket than Colin had about the sport.
Other people have tried to explain cricket to me, and I would still need to ask and have somebody basically break it down and be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, I know there's a ball, and it gets thrown, right? At the wickets?
Yeah, why
and
not?
That's why the phrase "sticky wicket" comes into play, because it doesn't knock down. Like, I would be calling that in that scene, trying to understand cricket. So, and it's very popular. Like, millions upon millions of people watch it and enjoy it and are entertained by it. So, and they all live in India. And horrible joke.
Whomping Willow.
Okay, so we're going to go back. It's the end of the summer.
Back to the chapter.
Yeah, back to the end of the summer. And, man, the Weasleys have done this before with more kids.
Yeah. Yeah, because they don't have to worry about, like, Charlie or Bill this year because they're both out of school. So it's...
Oh, okay, man.
I mean, now they have Ginny and Harry kind of taking on with them. So, like, they just kind of traded out two of the older models.
So there's 5 kids this time, not just 4.
Yeah. Because they're able to get everybody there in the car, which we already know is a very small car, as they get to King's Cross Station to get the kids on board the Hogwarts Express via platform 9 3/4 to get them to school. And this is one of those things, I know we saved the movie talk for the end, but I'm glad the movie kind of breezes through this chapter because this chapter is very boring. Like, there's multiple pages of, they're still driving in the car, they're uncomfortable in the car, where are they at in the car, let's dip down below the clouds, okay, we're still driving. Like,
we also have the point of view of knowing that they get to Hogwarts. Yeah. Like, there's no like, they're going to go on a crazy side adventure maybe here, what's going to happen? There's none of that that's happening in our own minds. So it's like, okay, let's get a move on here. I don't need to hear about them getting too hot in the car. The toffees are now kind of like all sticking together. Now it's getting cold because it's nighttime, and now they got to put their sweaters back on. I'm like, but when the car starts running out of gas, I'm like, wait, it's enchanted, but does it still run on petrol? Like, what
it
does
probably
it run?
Runs on like fairy wings or something.
Yeah, it's enchanted, but there still has to be some magical use, something that basically.
But see, that's
like a spell. Because Chris, we know that invisibility cloaks run out of invisibility. It was mentioned in the first book that it's very rare to have an invisibility cloak that does not wear out. Magic wears out in this world.
But it's interesting, too, because if that's the case, because we know, Arthur Weasley works in the Department of, confiscation of Muggle artifacts or something, but he knows nothing about Muggle stuff. Like, that's why he's so enthralled with Harry. Not because, Harry's the boy who lived, but he can give him that look into the Muggle world, like the Muggle realm. So would he know what gas is? Because it seems like the wizarding world is so sheltered from what is going on in the other 99% of the world that they're woefully unprepared for stepping out into like the actual world.
Right. That's very true. So yeah, maybe he doesn't know. I'm just saying that there has to be some magic spell that had some other enchantments. We know that enchantments wear out, that things kind of revert to their norm. So I have to assume that would happen with an enchanted car as well. Like, when it starts losing altitude.
But also, because I did look it up, their car is a 1960 Ford Anglia, and we are reading this today, obviously, but these books take place in the mid-90s. So at that point, that car is probably already like 30-something years old, so it probably already has issues with it just mechanically. You don't even have to worry about any like the enchantment stuff. Like, that car is just running on fumes as it is, probably.
Yeah, it's very true. Well, we learn, jumping ahead a few chapters, that this happens in 1992. Because it's a certain somebody's birthday. We'll get to it in chapter 8.
Yeah.
And our death day, and he's celebrating his 500th death day, and then we learned that he died back on Halloween of 1492. So, easy math there.
So, luckily, once it gets out of Harry and Ron stealing the car and flying it to Hogwarts, as soon as they run into the Whomping Well, that's when the chapter kind of felt more like Harry Potter home for me. Like, seeing them interact with Snape, and my girl Minerva McGonagall comes back, stern as ever, but still understanding, still like that kindness that she has towards these kids, like especially when they're like, well, technically, semester hasn't started yet, so you can't take points away from us, right? Like, yeah, the kid logic, that makes sense. She could still be cross, but you can't really do anything about that.
I do also, that added to this chapter was when was just the Weasleys just being like having to turn around every 10 minutes and go back home, and you're like, oh my goodness, let's just get there and go.
Yeah, they turn around because like one of the twins forgets their fireworks. It's like, you don't need fireworks for school. Like,
well, he probably didn't say they were fireworks. He probably told his parents it was something important for school, and then
I think they literally like call it out, like, oh, they had to go back because Fred needed his
the narrator calls it out, but who's the narrator? We don't know.
I don't know. I'm not going to continue to go through it, but
and anyways, yeah, but we were reintroduced, and then again, this chapter for you liked it. For me, it's like, oh, here comes this is a chapter that again is like, hey, is this somebody's first Harry Potter book?
But it's not as heavy-handed with like those reintroductions like we had with the first one, where it basically told you everything that happened in that first book, and now this one is just like, oh, Professor Snape, the potions professor, who doesn't like Harry. Like, okay, yeah, like that's fine.
And they go through the sorting cap ceremony again and talk about that and how Harry, got into Gryffindor and everything. So, and they kind of like they treat Snape is just out there, and he's just in the back, and Harry and Ron are just going at it, being like, "Hey, maybe he got fired. Maybe he's done. Maybe he quit.
Good riddance." Oh, I hated that guy.
How long would he stand there? How much rope would you give them to just keep on letting them hang themselves with it?
I mean, obviously he knows what he's doing. He's a masterclass hater, so he's gonna do exactly what he needs to do. But that's kind of the fun of it. And then again, it's Minerva coming in like, all right, I'm still gonna get you guys some food. Like, you're not gonna get the good stuff, but here's some ham sandwiches or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then
Plate of sandwiches and pumpkin, but with pumpkin juice. So
yeah,
the good stuff, not just water. So it's not like I know they missed out on the feast, but the movies. Not to talk about the movies, but the movies make it seem like every meal's a feast. At least in
yeah,
the books, it's like okay, they kind of okay. Today's porridge, maybe some eggs and bacon, like for
yeah.
breakfast. It's not like a full crazy over the top meal. And in later chapters, I can kind of understand them like kind of feeling like they're missing out on a big event meal.
Yeah, well, especially like that first welcoming to the Hogwarts year seems like it should be a little bit more pomp and circumstance too. But yeah, I liked this chapter.
They get plenty of pomp and circumstance when they show up at
Well, yeah, their
Great
friends are
Room.
like, "Whoa, what happened?" Like, and it's nice to be rereading these books because a lot of these characters do matter in the terms of the story, and like, yeah, they might appear in the movies or ancillary material like the video games and stuff if you play that, but they are a little bit more fleshed out here, and you get the fact that yeah, these are classmates and friends. Like, there's characters that we see in later movies that actually have presence, like Justin Finch Felcher or
Yeah,
whatever his name is. Like, oh yeah, like he's the Hufflepuff kid that harasses Harry in the fourth movie. But in here, like, he's an actual character. Like, he has interactions. He doesn't just pop up, be like, "Ooh, Potter stinks." And I like that because you don't need to have that. Like, yeah, the book focuses on Harry, but it also focuses on Harry at school, and like, this is his respite from the real world. So it makes sense that it's fleshed out more than his home life is.
yeah, and their punishments are wildly different because of that home life situation. He's like, Professor McGonagall's like, yeah, we got to write home to your parents, and like Harry's like 90% sure that the Dursleys are just going to see a letter from Hogwarts and just throw it
Yeah.
in the like trash and like or bury it in the backyard and be like, I hope nobody sees us doing this. Burning it, not even reading it. So it's like, sure. and Ron's like, oh shit.
Well, I mean,
It's going to be bad.
we things do get a little bit worse for Ron, but yeah, at this point, like, it kind of continues on that the hero worship that Harry's trying to avoid, because now it's not just like, oh, the famous Harry Potter boy who lived. It's Harry Potter and Ron Weasley, the kids that stole the car and flew in and like smashed into the Whomping Willow. Like, their legend's kind of growing, and you see some of that like kind of like respect coming from Lockhart too, and that kind of continues to grow and build. Like, hey, Harry coming in here, making the entrance, like, and that's just the last thing that Harry wants. He just
Right.
wants to be normal.
He wants. From the first book, it was definitely like he was suffering from a lot of imposter syndrome. This book, he kind of gets. We'll get to it in later chapters, but he kind of gets rude with the like. I think he's shy. I think he's self-conscious now about who he is and where he fits in with the world, just because of like, no, I'm not doing that. Like,
Well, even again, jumping
talk
ahead in a
about it
couple chapters,
next chapter.
like when he's talking to Colin about the Quidditch stuff we were talking about before, where he's asking him all the questions, like, you can tell Harry's like, he doesn't want to deal with it because it's like Colin kind of like fawning over him while asking him questions. But also, Harry, last year you didn't know any of this stuff either. So like, this kid's not just like looking up to you in like a celebrity aspect, but he's looking up to you because it's like, oh wow, this guy also came from nothing, and now here I am with them too.
Right. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. Like, hey, because how many people really come out and say, "Oh yeah, I'm Muggle-born," or "I'm from, a half and half, like Muggle family." Like they luckily, they don't wear a badge to like signify yet.
Yet.
Ugh. So and it's kind of seems like a very personal thing to say. Like if you came from a Muggle only family, like it seems like, it's not something that is like celebrated and really like everybody's like, oh yeah, the Muggle
But
family,
I
the
think
first wizards in the family.
I
Step on
think
up. Let's give
that's
you a round of applause. Think it's awesome that you're here.
I think that's also because it's something that they talk about in chapter 8, where it's like where they start talking about like the term mudblood, where Ron's also like, yeah, like most of the witches and wizards here now are half blood or like muggle born. Like it's just how genetics work. Like wizards would have died out if we had only like married and like bred with other wizards. Like not to
We
get
are
like
getting into like every other chapter except
yeah,
for this chapter.
but that's the thing. Like we had a long,
You're not going
long,
to have
long.
anything to talk about once we get to this chapter.
We will, but like a lot of that stuff is kind of set up here,
Right.
and like I feel like we already talked about everything that happens in this chapter because after they get to school, like that's when you're starting to get refamiliarized with that school life and his like co students. So it's just kind of like getting the band back together here, even though like we've already seen Ron, Hermione, and Ginny in the first couple of chapters. There's no surprise. It's like the filler characters are now coming in, like your tertiary players, like to remind
The
you
core.
about them.
Yeah.
You know, like even like Dumbledore like popping up in here is just kind of like a quick like, let's go. I want to eat dessert. Like okay,
It's like,
but that's
explain this to me.
that's also a very Dumbledore thing though. Like he doesn't do
There's
anything he
pudding.
doesn't need to.
I'm good. Minerva, you got this, right? There's some pudding I want to eat. Let's go, Snape. Yeah, he's. There isn't that awe sense that you kind of get from Dumbledore in this chapter. Like, you just like, okay, he's the headmaster. They kind of. He just doesn't do much.
Yeah, but I mean that would be my title for the Dumbledore biography. Like he just doesn't do much. Because yeah, it's a very breezy chapter. Like it's a quick read. Like previous,
I think it's a frustrating chapter because on reread, you already know what's. It feels like you're just waiting to get to Hogwarts at that point,
yeah,
and then every inconvenience is just more pages in front of you to get to where you want to be.
So like previous episodes and previous chapters, I am reading this in two different ways. First being the enhanced edition through Apple Books, and then also the Mina Lima illustrated editions. And in the enhanced edition, there are two of the moving pictures. The first one is actually a point of view from inside the Weasley's car with the willow branches hitting it, and like you start to see the windshield shatter. And then the second one is actually just a picture of the sandwich tray on Snape's desk with sandwiches floating. Nothing extraordinary. And then there is one of the Phoenix Feather footnotes, and it's literally just a paragraph about the Daily Prophet and how it's printed in Diagon Alley. And it's very rare that they put out an evening edition, only when something big happens, like a flying car spotted by Muggles.
Oh yeah, because I remember my parents talking about when they were a kid. That's when they stopped getting it like an evening news paper. Like they remembered their parents like not getting like it used to be day and night editions, and you would get both. And they remember like when they were really young that stopped. And now, as kids, I remember when the paper kind of stopped.
Yeah.
You know? Because being a paper boy was a thing when I was that age to be a paper boy. But as soon as I kind of could get an, quote unquote, real job, as a kid, at 16, 17, paper boys were kind of done by that point.
Yeah.
So 1992, that does check. Yeah, you wouldn't have an evening paper at that point. Well, the Wizarding World might.
Yeah. But I mean, also at that point, it's all magic. So it's not like they're printing it out, like driving it around town, throwing the stacks out. Yeah, they have radio, but
they don't have television. They
don't, but they have moving pictures. Like it's bizarre. Like it's backwards what they have and what they don't have, what they know about and what they don't know about.
They think the Ford Anglia comes with a extensive inside room.
You can't fit a whole family in there. One of the things
all the luggage.
One of the things I do like about the illustrated edition, pop-up book section is actually the Whomping Willow, and when you open it up, it has the car stuck inside of it. These are just gorgeous books. Like I cannot sing their praises enough. Floating sandwiches, and that's kind of it. Besides liner notes, before we get into the next chapter.
Let's get into the next chapter.
Yeah, let's get into that next chapter. I'm going to change.
Listeners, you're going to have to wait until next week to listen to that. But thank you so much for subscribing and or downloading the podcast each and every week here on the RSS feed or however you listen to podcasts. On Apple Podcasts. Is it iTunes? I don't even know anymore how people listen to podcasts. But thank you for being here. If you want to be part of the conversation, join us in the chat and watch us live and be able to not wait weeks between chapters. You can join us over on Twitch, where we're getting together basically once a month and discussing 4 chapters in a row. So we are going to go do that now. So bye.
Bye. And the best part is we don't have to do anything else because we can keep going.
We can.
Unless you want to take a break.
No, I'm good.
I am good too. Chapter 6, episode 29, Paul, if you want to get it kicked off.
Yep. Hey, friends. Welcome to episode 29 of Word Books with Friends. I am Paul.
I'm Chris.
And I'm joined. Thank you. And we're
You're
here
welcome.
to discuss... Because I'm like, should I say, and I'm joined by, or nope, he said it.
Nope.
Well, thank you.
I'm locked in.
He's locked in. He's ready to go. And we're going to discuss from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Chapter 6, Gilderoy Lockhart. And this episode is sponsored by Howler's Letter Stationery. Why send a thoughtful message when a piece of your mind will do?
Nice. And man, that's how it starts off, because we already saw Harry kind of get his disciplinary action in Chapter 5. Ron's is just starting, though, in Chapter 5, because now he has to hear from his mom. Which is probably the worst thing ever for a 12-year-old kid at school surrounded by his friends.
But let's not jump too far ahead, because we get reintroduced to a very important character. Neville Longbottom shows up. There he is. There's the Longbottom.
There he is.
He shows up. He's like, hey, I think the mail's going to come here soon. And at which point, Ron realizes that a storm is brewing.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God.
There's a storefront named Molly Weasley. Moving on in, Harold lands in a jug of milk, splashing it all over Hermione, who's already upset with them, both. Still upset from last night with both Ron and Harry. And here we are. There's the Howler just sitting there, steaming.
So the thing is, in the wizarding world, where you can just send a letter by owl post. Like, you have a family owl. You just write your letter. You send it to him. The fact that Molly went out and put money down for a howler, when we already know this family, like, they have their struggles. They're not as well off as some of the other wizarding families. So Molly was like, no, I'm going to let this kid know how mad I am. I'm going to spend the money to send him something on screaming stationery. That's bad.
I have to imagine it's special stationery, right? Like, maybe you can enchant it yourself. Maybe that's a thing. But I have to imagine it's like a trademark stationery that you have to go out and purchase.
I feel like it has to be.
Or a specialty quill, right? Like a howler quill. Like, there has to be something. There has to be some transaction that happens.
Even at that point, like, everyone knows what the Howler is, so I feel like it's like a Western Union telegram. Like, you have to go somewhere and, like, scream at a piece of paper, and meanwhile there's just some kid behind the register that's like, I hate my job.
Doesn't get paid enough. Whoever has to take these in, like, there has to be a booth, right?
Oh,
you take the paper in
booth.
And you go into a soundproof booth. Yeah, I'm thinking that's how it goes.
Maybe
kind of like how you remember how Media Play and Borders and everything used to have like little stations where you could listen to part of an album.
Yeah, you could like go in there and put the headphones on.
Yeah, something like that. Where need a holler? All right, right over there, man.
It's like going to a mall that has one of those hurricane simulators in it. You put like your $5 into it, and then you stand in there for 30 seconds.
But still, the kid that's taking it, no matter how much they just howled into that piece of parchment, when they come out of that booth, they're not calm.
Oh no! Now they're even more riled up.
They didn't just adjust their robe a little bit, adjust their tie, leave out a nice sigh, and then smile.
Well,
they're upset. They're still going to be upset when they hand it in. Well, they don't need to hand it to you. They hand it to an owl.
Yeah, they
so
to the
they're
owl,
family
probably.
owl. So yeah, you're good. You're good. You got no more interaction.
But at that point,
you hand them the holler. You point it to the booth, and then you go into the back and take your 15-minute.
I'm going to go one more level on it too, because as soon as that owl comes back, and there's probably not a response with it, at that point you're like, this kid already got it. He doesn't have a response. He doesn't have anything to say back to me.
What do you say back to that?
You're getting more mad now. So by the next time you see that kid, you're still probably stewing. Like, not only did you do something I had to yell at you out, I had to pay money to yell at you, and you don't say anything back to me? Ooh.
I guess the only proper response is, yes, Mom, sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mom. Sorry, Mom. Love you, Mom. Sorry, Mom. Like, that is the letter.
That's just gotta be it. Just send back a frowny face. Yeah. That's my big walk away from this chapter, because the rest of it is very much a Chekhov's mandrake plant.
Well, you know what? I want to give some props to Hermione here, because she does start to pile on a little bit. Like, hey, what did you expect? And then Ron's like, please don't say that I deserve it. Because he's already getting it from teachers. He's getting it from his parents. He knows that if he goes home on a break, that break is just going to be spent doing chores or getting the cold shoulder and disciplined the whole time. Like, he's not done paying for this. He knows he's not done paying for this. He doesn't need to be reminded of that fact. And Hermione does back off. She doesn't keep on piling on. And I also have to ask, how many times has she read Voyages with Vampires? It seems like it's her favorite book. You know she's already done reading it, but she keeps on going back to it.
So
she was reading it in the last chapter. She's reading it in this chapter, and I think she reads it in the chapters after this.
Probably, but also my question now is, do we know at what point... No.
When she buys the books?
Yeah, because
during the summer,
does she get them when they're at...
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Diagon, yeah, because that's why it would be difficult for the Muggle parents to get there.
Okay, because I'm thinking like maybe she got them beforehand, but also maybe she was able to procure them before and then went to get other books or supplies she needs for school.
There is Amazon,
and it only did school books at that point too. So who knows? They wouldn't have the Wizarding books.
It's Amazon.wz. Wizarding.
I love this because this is really until later on in the the series. Like, this is, I think, one of the only times we see Molly mad, and we don't even see her mad. Like, we hear her being mad, and that's enough. And like, it's enough that it scares Ron. So,
knowing your parent is mad at home is enough. Like, we've all done something, and we know we've escaped it for now. But we've all felt that storm cloud that you're just walking into.
Yeah.
Where you try to open up the door as quietly as possible when you get home from school. Because either the phone call or letter made it home before you did.
Yeah.
And there's no escaping it. But for some reason, we try to escape it.
You're hoping like you can slide in and it not be brought up as an actual like issue. Like maybe things have cooled off by now.
Yeah, or get settled in and maybe be able to mount some sort of defense for yourself, but there's none.
There's no hiding.
You've already had all the conversations in your own head walking back from either the school bus or from school. You've had every single fight there possibly could be and would ever be, and yet you are on the ending loss of every single one. There's no flipping this around. But anyways, that's for Ron to have going around in his head when he goes to the greenhouse. Yeah. Madame Pomfrey. Yeah.
Madame Sprout.
Oh, Madame Sprout. Yeah, Pomfrey's the nurse. Sorry.
Yeah, she's the nurse. And, it's obvious now, like 20 years later, like, yeah, that's why they set up everything with the mandrakes, because that becomes key in curing everybody that's been petrified and cursed later on in the books. But
the thing is, like, they say Hermione answers that, hey, this drought, Mandrake, is a powerful restorative. It can lift transfigurations and curses. Yet, I guess not all curses, right?
Yeah.
Because, well, we know Neville's parents, like, you would think they would just slap some Mandrake root on them and they're good to go. But I guess it's very powerful, but not powerful enough. And also, I'm wondering, with Mandrake, we'll learn about Polyjuice Potion later. But if you're afraid that somebody is polyjuiced,
can you dose them?
Can you dose them with a little bit of Mandrake extract and reveal their true form? Like, it's like one of those things that I'm now thinking of because in the movie, and the last time I read this book, I didn't catch it. This time I caught it. I'm like, wait, transfigurations and curses.
I think it's one of those things. It works when it needs to, and if it's not something that needs to be solved by it won't. Because my big question is, so they're basically like a root vegetable. Do you think there's people that just eat them? Like, they just maybe grow them in their home garden and are like, oh, you know what, let's throw a couple mandrakes in the pot roast today.
Yeah, like ginger. Yeah. Like ginger root.
Yeah, like
because
like a
I know that's like,
or like a tuber.
Well, I know with ginger specifically, I'm pretty sure I know this. Maybe I'm construing multiple things together. That in some cultures, like, if the ginger looks like a person, it's even supposed to be even better for you. Like, more, because ginger root is supposed to have some, anti-inflammatory.
Just imagine if that ginger root was crying as you're grating it.
Yeah. So that's what I think about when they're talking about Mandrake. And I know Mandrake is, like, older than just Harry Potter. Like, there's is it an actual... I didn't look that up.
I think it is, because it's something that I've heard about and read about in other forms of...
It's a type of plant. Mandragoria. So yeah, it's an actual plant. It's an actual root vegetable. And it's supposed to have magic containing hallucinogenic
Whoa.
alkaloids. leading to their historical use in magic and spiritual practices. So yeah, it's a real thing.
Makes sense.
But not
used to cure curses. Makes you see.
They're
things.
not, but they're not little baby things that yell at you. So they're not that magical. But yeah.
So,
go ahead, Chris.
the thing that I came out of this one with is we know later on in the series that Neville is the plant guy. I'm kind of sad he didn't start to show that here, and it's like Hermione that's answering those questions, because I think that would have been a nice little build up for Neville at that point, because at this point we already know he's kind of like bumbling and like forgetful and like doofy. So I think to have him be like showing that affinity for herbology like now would have helped, but I don't think that was like thought out until later on in it, because we needed somebody to tell Harry about gillyweed later, and it couldn't have been Hermione because Hermione was already off the table at that point, I think.
Yeah. But we do get in this chapter, I think Hermione racks up 30 points for Gryffindor. Like, no problem. First day. She gets 20 here in herbology.
And she gets
10
more
later.
with the quiz in Lockhart's class.
Another 10. But before we get all that, we do get an interesting. You like Gilderoy Lockhart.
I love Lockhart.
You're on the record for saying it, and he just comes off so smarmy. Like he's like a talent agent, like for Harry Potter. Like he's like, hey Harry, I know it's all my fault. It's all my fault. You got a taste of publicity. Now you want more, and that's why, of course, you rode in on a flying car.
Now you're signing pictures for people.
Well, that comes later.
Yeah.
Keep on wanting to jump ahead, Chris, this time. But yeah, he's just really slarmy about it. And also, we get to see how the other professors are kind of reacting, because Men of Sprout is like kind of like rolling her eyes at him. Like when she's like, "Oh yeah, these things are but once you have the know-how."
Jumping ahead, we get that from Hagrid, and like I can't remember if it's like the next chapter or like the chapter after that too.
Mrs. Sprout is subtle about it. Hagrid has no subtlety about it. He tells you what's up. But here, we get a little inkling that hey, maybe he doesn't know what he's talking about at the herbology class. And then once we get to then it's defense of the dark arts, right?
Because that's where they have like the pop quiz, and it's all questions about him
and also and that's where the signing of because Colin wants a picture that maybe gets signed, and then Gilderoy locks over, who wants a signed photo? I'd be happy to sign a photo. Come here, Harry. Yeah, and he just is pretending like he's saving Harry, but also wants to steal the spotlight, put it back on him. What's your read? Is that your read? Is that the supposed to be takeaway from these interactions with Harry? That Lockhart's a little bit afraid that Harry's going to be upstaging him soon, and he's trying to keep Harry in the background?
I clearly think that's it, because Harry is someone whose fame is actual and earned, and what we do learn about Lockhart later on in the book is he's a blowhard. Like, it's all fake. All of his stories are literally stolen from other witches and wizards that did the things that he's claiming to have done. So the fact that there's a kid who's done this, defeated he who must not be named, like, I think at that point it's just like jealousy based, and like he's just trying to hitch his wagon to Harry's star at that point, because like he knows all eyes are on Harry, so that's going to be another way to propel himself forward. And I mean, we do have that happen later on, like too, with the eventual run-in the Chamber of Secrets. But yeah, he's just there to ride those coattails as much as possible, and he knows Harry's not going to take the credit for anything, so it gives him an easy way to be like, oh, well, of course Harry came to me for guidance, because Harry's not going to say no.
No,
He's not gonna
he
push
wants
back.
to stay out of the spotlight. In this book, he wants to stay out of the spotlight as much as possible. I think he feels really self-conscious about anything. He lashes out in ways that I don't like at Colin here, when he's asking, "No, I wasn't giving him pictures. No, shut up, Colin." Like, he tells a lot of people to just shut up, which I'm like, ooh. But 92. Maybe that's
also, I mean, the beginning of
12.
his preteen angst coming out too. And again, like, what I kind of keep coming back to is this is where Harry wants to be, and his being here, especially like this year, like after everything that happened last year, it's already starting off worse. Like all the stuff with Dobby not being able to get into Diagon Alley, or not Diagon, Platform 9 3/4, running into like the Malfoys at Diagon Alley. Like, things are going bad even before he can get to school, which is the one place he wants to be. Like, he's been dreaming about this moment all summer. And then when he finally gets there, it's just depression after depression after depression for him. Like, it's lost its luster.
Especially a place where you're like, okay, this is where I can learn. This is where I can improve. This is where I can connect to my the family that is now gone.
Mm.
And if people start believing that you believe that you already know it all,
yeah,
and you're better than that place, then you're not going to be able to. People won't be willing to reach out that extra hand to help you along.
Yeah.
So I understand, like, maybe that being a fear.
We saw how that already kind of impacted him in Sorcerer's Stone too, where he's just trying to take his notes and learn, and Snape's like cracking down on him, and yeah, unwarranted. We know that. Harry definitely knows that. It's like, why is this guy doing this to me? But yeah, like, Harry's just trying to do what a kid's gonna do at school. Like, he's trying, and there's all these other obstacles that are hindering that.
And Gilderoy Lockhart throws us a nice quiz, and then
I bookmarked that page, and I took my card out and I put it down somewhere else. I do want to go over the questions because I think they are fantastic. Because question 1, what is Gilderoy Lockhart's favorite color? Question 2, what is Gilderoy Lockhart's secret ambition? Question 3, what, in your opinion, is Gilderoy Lockhart's greatest accomplishment to date? And then it continues on, and we know it goes to at least 54 questions. When is Gilderoy Lockhart's birthday, and what would his ideal gift be? I love it because there are celebrities out there that have followings, and there are people that would be able to give you these things. And if you're, just a regular person that's not buying into that cult of personality, yeah, like, this is going to be a huge waste of time, especially when you're in an actual class for Defense Against the Dark Arts.
I do love that, like, Seamus and Dean were sitting in the front row, and, like, we're just, like, laughing at this buffoon the whole time. Like, so it seems like it's obvious to a lot of the students. It seems like it's obvious to any professor that has interactions with him. How is he still a thing? I guess is the question. Like,
I mean,
because if everybody that just spends like 10 minutes with him sees right through him, like, what? I guess not everybody, because
there are.
Learn Hermione still is at the end of the chapter. Hermione's still defending him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to draw comparisons, but Paul, we do live in a world today where there are people in elevated positions around the world that we know are incapable of fulfilling those positions, and people still look up to and celebrate them.
It's not like a million people would vote for such a person.
No,
right?
more would do that. But that's, I mean, in actuality, like, that's the realism of the world. Like, there are people that fail upwards, and I think Lockhart is a prime example of that. But also, yeah, we know he's full of it, but he is a gifted enough wizard that he is super adept at what he does with like the memory charms. Like, he's top of the class on that, so he's not an idiot.
Yeah. All this said, it does make me want Odin's old fire whiskey, though. But with the memory charm, it would be really interesting if the character was able to not just erase the memory but absorb it. Like, that would be maybe a little bit more interesting. So yeah, it's stolen valor, but at least he has now the knowledge or the perceived life experience.
I'm going to disagree with that, because then it gives him too much credence, because, yeah, it's stolen and he has that experience. I think it's better that he doesn't have that experience, but he just knows the story, and it's kind of a big fish story at that point. Like, he just keeps telling the tale, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Like,
it's true. But either way, it's somebody that's done their own research. Yeah. I know the science, but I've done my own research. And this is what I found. That's the vibes I'm getting from Lockhart right now. And and then he shows off the pixies, freshly caught Cornish pixies.
Cornish pixies. I understand he's working within his means as someone that is not suited to be a professor here, but don't the Cornish pixies seem to be more of a thing that you would have in like magical creatures class, not necessarily defense against the dark arts? I mean, yeah, like he's trying, quote unquote, to teach them how to defend themselves, but also the defense for them is a charm, which would be like Flitwick's class 2 almost. Yeah. So also it's defense against the dark arts. The pixies just seem annoying. Like, they don't seem any worse than we had with the gnomes in the garden, in like the second chapter when Harry was at the burrow. Like, they're a nuisance, and it's just worse because they've been caged up and they're let loose in this classroom. Like, that's kind of it. Because even it's Seamus as like, oh yeah, these things suck. Like, they're annoying. Like, it's not like, oh my god, no, it's pixies. Everyone's just like,
yeah. Oh, and I guess maybe you don't normally come up to them in a full pack of them. Maybe you come across with, because if you're mischievous, right? If you're a mischievous creature, you're probably not a social animal or social creature.
Seamus can't control himself. He lets out a snort of laughter even Lockhart couldn't mistake for a scream of terror. And he says, they're not very dangerous, are they? So, like, even then, it's just like, oh yeah, this is basically the equivalent of your substitute teacher wheeling in the TV and the VCR on the car and be like, we're gonna watch Born on the 4th of July today because it's American history class. Like, it's like that kind of thing where it's like, really, we're doing that? Okay.
I'm trying to think of, like, okay, defensive against the dark arts, like, okay, if somebody wheels in, like, a couple feral cats and, like, okay, round them up.
Challenge accepted. I do that daily, sir.
You do that daily. Like, here's a couple, one chimpanzee, small little chimp, like Chipukin monkey. Okay, you could probably handle and, like, figure that out. But, like, a group of 15 of them, that's going to be some trouble.
It could be a headache. Luckily, I always carry around a pocket full of peanuts. I can just offer him a nut.
There you go. But then Ron, so at the end of this chapter, we see that Ron kind of is like, yeah, he says he's done a lot of this stuff in his books, but do we believe it?
Sometimes Ron proves his worth a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's,
Hermione's defending him, and Ron sees right through it, which I appreciated from Ron.
With the 2 versions of the book I'm reading, I do have the what used to be known as the Pottermore edition. Now they're just called Enhanced. So we do have a couple moving pictures in there. The first one being a picture of the Howler sitting on the table in the Great Hall, and it's kind of like pulsing and steam shooting out of it. And then there's also a picture of the Pixies attacking in the Defense Against the Dark Arts room. And we have one Phoenix Feather footnote, and it's actually a little bit of information about Gilderoy Lockhart during his time at Hogwarts when he was a student. He also bought into his own hype then and was responsible for sending himself hundreds of Valentine's Day cards and dyeing one of the Quidditch pitches from someone to Gilderoy Lockhart. So he's always been this way.
So he made his own hype back then.
Always. You know,
and now he's like trying to tell Harry not to. Hey, let's not do it.
At least someone believes it. The Mina Lima edition, you have an actual pot that you can pull a mandrake out of, which, I mean, they're really creepy. But one of my favorite details of it is the terracotta pot it's in is cracked, and like you can see his eye poking through that. No other real like pop-up parts, but just some beautiful artwork of like the pixie attack in the Defense Against the Dark Arts room.
Which field do you say?
Quidditch,
the Quidditch field was tied?
Huh. Interesting. Is it time for some Quidditch?
It might be. Or at least some practice, right?
Oh, definitely. We got to learn those new drills. So that's going to close us out of this chapter as we prepare to continue on with our reread of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Make sure you join with us next week when we'll be talking about chapter number 7, Mudbloods and Murmers. Or if you're watching us over on twitch.tv/bagnboard, stay tuned because we're going to be getting right to it.
Yeah. I'm going to go down in the basement and grab another drink because it's warm in this room.
I'm going to put up the "We'll be right back," and I'm also going to grab another drink and use the restroom.
There we go. So we'll be right back.
Bye. Hey. Yeah. I could silence it, but this is more for us than anything else. No, it's just one more thing for me to have to click on and click off. So
It's fine.
It doesn't hurt having it up. I didn't take any notes on this one, so I don't remember what the enhanced editions had. So I'll just skip that this time. But I have my my illustrated one here. Because I'm good to go whenever you are. I just have to. So for my bookmark for this, I'm actually using a Justice League.
Oh, nice.
United, Unlimited, whatever it is. It's Zatanna.
Oh, nice. Hey.
So hey.
She's a witchy woman.
She is. Oh, we got a chat from spam. We're gonna delete that.
Delete that. Got to remove the space. He just wants to let us know. Best viewers on StreamBoo.com.
I think I have to actually do that over on Twitch. I'm not going to worry about that. But I am going to get us kicked off in a second here. How do I go back? Did I just hit settings again? Yeah, there it is. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Make sure I change the episode art. I did, because I'm updating the episode artwork on the stream for the chapter and the episode, just because, why not? Might as well.
It is smaller print. I did not notice it until you mentioned it now, but I appreciate it because now that I'm there, I'm going to check for it each time.
I might redo that for the next book we do, because it is a little bit small. Like if you're looking at it on like the Instagram post, it's fine, but putting it on like the stream as just like a smaller image, like it's harder to tell, but the effort is there. The love comes through. Hey guys, welcome to Word Books with Friends. It's episode number 30. Today we are talking about chapter number 7 of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Mudbloods and Murmers. I'm Chris.
And I'm Paul.
And thank you for joining us today, or if you're following along on twitch.tv/bagnboard, staying with us or checking in while we're recording. Because, we are, now I think is where we are really starting to get into Harry Potter. We've had all of the table set. We know most of our characters that we're going to be seeing and interacting with for the remainder of the book. And now we're starting to have more of that rising action. Like, we're starting to actually get some conflict, not just internal conflict of Harry trying to deal with celebrity when he doesn't want it, but actual antagonists kind of coming at him because it's time for some Quidditch, which reminds me, we need to talk about this week's sponsor. This episode brought to you by Nimbus 2001. If you're looking for the most exquisite flying machine ever, don't settle for anything less. Add one. Nimbus 2001. Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
It's so weird because, like, back in the 90s, like, I can totally buy into the fact that, like, 2000, how crazy weird will that be? Like, 2000 is a number.
It was a big number at the time. You know what's bigger? Yeah. Adding 25 to it.
Yeah. Or just one.
Ooh.
This chapter kind of opens up with Harry having, just trying to sleep after just dodging.
Crummy couple
he finally
days.
makes it to the weekend. He survived the school week. He's been dodging Gilderoy. He's gonna have a nice sleep in Saturday, have a nice breakfast, but no, Oliver would.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you always wake up with wood. So, it happens.
It does happen. And you gotta take care of it.
You gotta take care of it. And the only way to do that is to beat some balls.
You gotta just get your bludger out and just whack some
whack away
blood.
at it.
Yep.
Shout out to Oliver Wood, team captain of Gryffindor Quidditch. He is not letting a moment pass by. Like, as soon as they're able to, he's getting everybody to the pitch so they can start practicing the new drills. It doesn't matter if everybody's still half asleep, or in the case of the Weasley twins, still asleep on somebody else's shoulder. He is going to try to
move, though.
Nice move. He found a shoulder to lean on. He went for it. She
didn't shrug him off.
Hey, I feel like in that moment they all felt it. Yeah. I don't blame him because they were so close last year. This year they're not going to let that happen again. The only thing that they weren't counting on is the Slytherin team also showing up with a whole bunch of brand new equipment and a brand new seeker.
Yeah. We get Colin also hears
Colin.
Harry and is like, okay, cool. I'm gonna watch this
at like 5 a.m. This kid
break of dawn.
Oh, I heard someone talking to Harry, so I better take on this. Come on, kid.
This is his first Saturday. It's still early in the week for this Mudblood, kid.
It's still
I'm gonna call him.
It's still early in the school year. Like, this kid is probably so overstimulated. Like, enjoy the Saturday, man. Like,
he's bouncing off the wall. He's probably waking up like at 4:30, being like, "Is it what's happening now?"
I'm sure it's just that Hogwarts diet is probably just pumping this kid so full of sugar that he's never had before. He's probably just been awake for like this entire first week. He's just probably been bouncing off the walls. His poor British stomach can't handle pumpkin juice and butterbeer and whatever else they're pumping these kids full of. He's just probably used to subsiding on mushy peas and chips. Like, that's it. So now he's actually has blood sugar, probably. That's what's happening.
Okay, so because I'm like, wait, who won the Quidditch Cup? Do we actually know from Philosopher's Stone? And we don't actually know. I'm on GameRant.com right now, and they're saying that it was either Slytherin or Ravenclaw.
I think it was Ravenclaw because I think that's what it came down to. Is like,
whoa. You're biased, so I'm pretty sure it was Slytherin.
Might be a little bit biased.
I'm also biased.
But
so wait, no. What? Okay. What's your reasons for? I'll hear it.
I feel like if Slytherin had won, they probably would have come in gloating a lot more when they entered the pitch with Gryffindor there. Like, it would have been a much more like, oh, you think you're going to do better this year? You're not going to beat us. We won last year, kind of thing. And the fact that Malfoy is now part of the team because his father bought the entire team brand new racing brooms means that was
whoa, before you move on, can I give four why Slytherin won the Quidditch Cup?
I'm sorry, I thought we were just going along with the fact that I was right. So okay, but yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Let me rewrite the rules of this game as a proper Slytherin. And no, because who won the House Cup?
It was
up
Slytherin.
Until some BS points were awarded. Some cockamamie, like, let's just give Longbottom 10 points for standing up to somebody that he shouldn't have stood up to, because if he was right, everybody else would have lost.
Yeah.
So good at failing upwards there, Longbottom. Here's 5 points for you, and the House Cup goes to somebody else. You know what? Award some house points, some pretty good house points, winning the Quidditch Cup.
I mean, but that could also be why maybe Ravenclaw just didn't have enough points after winning the cup. You know, maybe they were just too busy doing other stuff, not playing chess games and skirting the rules. Not cheating like the Slytherin kids.
Whoa.
You know Snape is giving them points for anything he can. He's taking the points away from other people. And who would you be taking points away from? Gryffindor and probably Ravenclaw, because they're the ones that they're not going to be the blowhards like the Gryffindors. They're going to be the ones that are actually putting in the work. So you got to kneecap them however you can.
Yeah. Because we've seen how many 30 points were awarded to Hermione for answering 2 questions and also acing a quiz.
But they were points given by Gilderoy Lockhart for answering questions about Gilderoy Lockhart. So, maybe it's a little skewed.
You would think that Ravenclaw would be racking up some of these scholarly points. So you would think they would have won the House Points Cup easily if they had also won the Quidditch Cup. That's why I'm thinking that Slytherin won it the previous year. And they're just furthering on some good investment.
I need to research. I'm not going to, but I think weren't they in second though, and then Gryffindor came up from behind.
Yeah,
because then they were tied.
Yeah, Hufflepuff was always behind.
Yeah,
you're right. You are correct on that.
But yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, we get Quidditch and we get Slytherin with their new Seeker, Draco Malfoy.
Who, if he
he's sleek.
If he couldn't be worse at the beginning of the book, now he has that unearned confidence because his dad bought his way onto the team, and that's pointed out to him too, and it causes a fracas on the pitch, which brings up something we didn't really talk about before because Ron's wand was broken when they crashed into the Whomping Willow, and he's been kind of dealing with a busted wand for the next or the past 2 chapters now, and of course he's in a fit of valid but misplaced rage. He tries to jinx Malfoy and it backfires on him, and then he starts just choking up slugs. Yeah. And the way it's actually drawn in the Mina Lima book, it's much grosser. It's not like just 1 or 2 every now and then. He's just full bore gargling those things up. They're spilling out of the cauldron. It's real nasty. But this actually kind of ties into what I had talked about last episode when I was jumping ahead, because we get a very minor scene with Hagrid and Gilderoy Lockhart, where, again, much like with Professor Sprout, Lockhart's just there trying to give tips and pointers to someone who does not need them. And to your point, Sprout plays along. It's like, oh, thank you. And Hagrid just ain't having it.
Yeah. He's trying to give me advice on keep getting Gilpers out of the well. He's like, dude. And talking about some banshee that he banished and everything like that. He knows he's not the best man for the job. He was the only man for the job for the defense against the dark arts.
Yeah, because
everybody knows it.
This is where it comes up. Everyone thinks that position's jinxed now because they've just had nothing but bad luck with their professors. So that seems to be another reason why Lockhart got it, because yes, he might be good at what he does, but also he's the only person that would take a position that everyone else thinks is dangerous because he's either unaware and not paying attention to because it has nothing to do with him, or he thinks I'm Gilderoy Lockhart. Of course, I'm going to be okay because I can always just push someone else in front of it if I'm in danger.
Well, also, he probably came back because there was some Valentines that you mentioned in last week's episode that he probably forgot to pick up, and he really wants to make sure he gets those. Everybody loves him there.
Everyone.
Also, it's the most prestigious school.
It is.
It's... we get Colin saying that, hey, he was down to go to some other school. I forgot to look it up. I couldn't tell if it had to be just a regular Muggle school, right? That he was about to go to, and then I think it was another
Wizarding school though, because it's when he's talking about how he was talking to his dad, and he was lucky he got to go to Hogwarts instead.
Yeah. I'm not, if you're not too worried about it.
No.
But yeah, I love this interaction with Hagrid. Hagrid is much more of a jawbuster. I'm going to say jawbuster, right? uh, than he is in the movies. He totally like throws Gilderoy Lockhart under the bus. Doesn't believe a word he says. Then he gives it a little bit to Harry. He's like, Harry, I'm a little upset with you, man. I got a bone to pick with you. You're handing out signed photos.
I'm not good enough to get a picture. I carried you. I carried you home, boy.
Harry just snaps at the guy, and I'm like, ugh, Harry, just calm down a little bit, bud. And then Hagrid, being so well-meaning, like knows that he stepped in something, and is like, dude, I was just joking. Everything's fine. I knew you weren't doing it. I even told Lockhart you weren't doing it because you're even more famous than he is, and you're not even trying. And I know you don't even need to try, Harry. You're fine.
Well, also we get a little bit of Hagrid kind of ribbing Harry a little bit more because he mentions like, "Oh yeah, Ron, I saw your sister. She was looking around here for someone. I don't know who Harry. Wink, wink." Like, I do love Hagrid a lot, and I forgot how great Book Hagrid is.
That little moment of being like, "Hey, listen, I know you're not trying." Like, maybe I was hoping that if he could have sold it a little bit more, maybe it's like, "Hey, Harry, calm down. You don't need to snap at everybody that thinks that that comes up with a rumor that you're trying to be selling yourself." Because everybody that knows you knows that you won't do it. So, be cool, baby.
Be cool, baby. But he can't be cool because McGonagall shows up and is like, "What are you guys doing? You're supposed to be going to detention now." Because, oh yeah, that's right.
8 o'clock at night, detention starts.
But, okay, don't forget in the first book,
they
for detention, they got sent into the Forbidden Deadly Forest to research killings that were happening. So, I feel like 8 o'clock at night, polishing some silver. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, that's fine. I'll polish silver with the groundskeeper. It's better than going into the Death Forest where something's killing unicorns.
Again, here at Hogwarts, the points don't matter, and the punishments make no sense. This is like, okay, so you were out of bed past curfew, going to the Forbidden Forest where things are dying.
You're not supposed to go in there, but we're going to send you in there. You're going to die.
You might die. It's fine. There's werewolves. Who knows? We don't go in there.
There's werewolves. There's centaurs that notoriously hate humans. There's acromantulas. They're the worst of the worst. Good luck. Here's this lantern to take with you. And don't forget, like a total of 3 spells.
And you're first years. Yeah, 3 spells, and that's because you got out of your bed and went to the public bathroom instead of your house common room bathroom.
Can't do that.
Can't do it.
Heaven forbid you're walking around the halls at night in the school. I'm assuming your family still has to pay to get you in there. Like, I don't think this is like a public education. Like, you're not going to public wizarding school 87. Like, your family's ponying up. How dare you step foot where you're not supposed to be at that time of day?
Oh, so all right, now let's see here. You were seen by like at least a half a dozen muggles flying in a car that you shouldn't have been flying. You missed the transportation that's already paid for and you should have been on. You did damage to a ancient tree, sentient and live tree. So your punishment this time is going to be even worse.
Get ready.
You're going to polish some trophies.
But you're going to have to polish them with somebody nobody likes.
Yeah, with somebody that's horrible. And Harry, you're going to have to spend time with somebody nobody likes. So they both have to spend time with people nobody likes.
And I mean, Harry does even say, like, I would rather go be with Filch and Ron cleaning. Mm-hmm. Like, don't make me go with Lockhart. But that's basically like a no, like you were specifically requested. Like, this isn't on us. Like, you got to go.
And
One of the things I do like in my Mina Lima Illustrated Edition, once Harry has to go to his detention with Lockhart, we have a pop-up book page, but the page, it's all the pictures that are hanging in Lockhart's office, and they're all of Lockhart, but they're the moving portraits, so you can actually pull the tab over, and the pictures switch around.
Frame to frame.
So
Nice.
It's pretty cool. It's beautiful.
Oh, before we move on, I do like the little whisper that they give of not whisper. It's not subtle at all.
Yeah.
Of Hagrid doing magic on the pumpkin, being like, "Oh, an engorging spell."
I can't do magic. Wink. Here's my wand in the broom, or not in the umbrella.
Yeah. So that's great. I like that they're seeing that consistently. You would think it would play up more.
I mean, I think
maybe in the books it does. We'll get to later books.
We will. I think we'll get into it with this one too, because we do have the flashbacks to when they think Hagrid is the one that opened up the Chamber of Secrets, the 50 years before, and that's why he can't do magic, because he was supposed to be expelled and sent to Azkaban. So we will see that in here, and I think they do give a little bit more detail about it. But this is another thing that bothers me about Harry Potter is it's okay. Harry is an underage wizard who did a spell to protect himself, or does magic accidentally. He gets the official summons from the Wizengamot, he's in trouble. But as soon as you're over age, they just don't pay attention to what spells you're doing anymore, because Hagrid's forbidden from doing magic. But apparently he's not on a registered list that they're checking up on that stuff, because they should be able to see oh, this half giant shouldn't be doing magic. Why is he casting spells on pumpkins? There's probably someone in the Ministry of Magic who should have that job, and I think they're failing at it.
Right. You want a secret room at what I'm hearing, Chris, is you want a secret room in every AT&T, Verizon, anywhere there's cell phones, a secret room, just constantly taking. Okay.
Yeah, because they're doing that. They're doing that to protect me, Paul. It's for my own good.
Yeah. With underage wizardry, though, that's hey, we know, from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the movie, we learn about, the Obscurious.
Yeah. The Obscurial.
Obscurial, which are very dangerous. Also, wild magic, just wild magic that isn't controlled, and we see is very. In the next book, we'll see is kind of dangerous and crazy, a glass pane just disappearing from a python thing, and a python escaping because a kid just kind of willed it to happen without knowing. Yeah, you kind of want to keep up on that kind of stuff, so that way.
But I mean, flip side of that, we believe this person is a danger to society. We're forbidding them from doing magic. We're taking their wand away, shattering it.
Yeah, we did it.
You figure someone somewhere would be checking up on that.
Yeah, they might be checking up on it. There might be a quote unquote parole officer.
I fully support just common sense wand law. That's it. I'm just saying. You know what? I think
they took away his wand. They did. They broke it. It snapped.
I think he should be licensed.
Not allowed to buy another one.
And so why is Hagrid able to piece his together in an umbrella and it still works, but when Ron's is broken and it's mended together using tape for that purpose, it's not doing anything. Is it just because not a quality wand to begin with?
Yeah, it's a wand. Okay. It's a wand that was passed down to him, so it's not really his wand. So he's fighting against that already. It's not the wand that chose the wizard. It is broken now, and also he's only a second year, so maybe that spell tape needs a little bit more enchanting as he's doing the ritual.
They probably just bought the generic store brand and not the name brand. It's like Kleenex. Everyone calls them Kleenex, but you go anywhere else, it's just facial tissue. They
Well,
bought magic binding tape, but everyone just calls it Spello tape.
yeah, it's not the actual Scotch tape.
It's the Band-Aid versus adhesive strips argument.
Yeah.
They Xeroxed it in. But this is also where we get our first little hint that there may be something else going on around Hogwarts. It's bad enough that things aren't going right for Harry, and he has to spend the day in detention with the person he probably loathes the most next to Malfoy and Snape and Colin Creevey with Gilderoy Lockhart. But this is when
he only doesn't like Colin because Colin brings Lockhart with him.
Yeah.
Like, if Colin was on his own and there was no chance that Lockhart would then immediately pop up,
or maybe I'm gonna go deep in on this. I'm gonna get the microphone closer to me. Maybe
Do it.
maybe Harry hates Colin because he sees a little bit of his younger self reflected in him, and now Harry can't bear to look at that young, impressionable youth yearning for guidance anymore because he knows what lies in the Forbidden Forest.
yeah,
That's not it at all. It's just he's just supposed to be like
Yep.
he's just supposed to be a precocious, annoying kid that eventually something bad happens to, and you're like, oh no, not Colin. But then secretly you're like, yeah, fuck Colin.
Get him.
Get him, Basilisk.
only-
Oh yeah, that's what we were talking about. Because we start to hear the first whispers of the Basilisk lurking in the pipes and halls of Hogwarts.
Yeah, come to me. Let me rip you.
Can I get a dramatic reading? And, I'm going to kick into Bag and Board mode. And now, a dramatic reading from Harry Potter, The Chamber of Secrets, Chapter 7, page 135.
Come to me. Let me rip you. Let me tear you. Let me kill you.
I also love the fact that this is how they set the Basilisk up, but at no point in this book does he actually kill anybody. People are severely injured, and we hear about some people that he was responsible for killing later on, but I think he's just talking a big game after all these years.
You know what? He's too old for this shit.
Yeah, this is like you driving through rush hour traffic, being like, "I'm gonna run this guy off the road," but then really you're like, "Please let me merge. I have my signal on."
He's old, man. He's retired. 50
I
years ago, man.
I like this
been a long
chapter
time.
a lot more than some of the previous ones we've had in this current batch of chapters we're reading for the book. I think this one is the closest to what I know and love about Harry Potter, because we're starting to see all that other stuff that's going to become more relevant and a danger later on in the book popping up now. Everything is being seeded in for what our story is going to be.
Yeah. And if you want to follow along with us, I have to say thank you for listening to the end of this episode. All of you that are subscribed to the podcast. If you want to follow along and actually be part of the conversation, you can do that over at twitch.com or twitch.tv /Bagnaboard, where once a month, Chris and I get together and discuss this book. Next time, we'll put it on Instagram, so follow us over there when we're going to be recording our next time. We'll try to get a schedule together so that way you can join along in reading as
even
well.
if you're not able to join us here in person as we are recording it, hopefully you are reading along at home on your own time and listening alongside us. Even if you're not and you're just listening to us kind of rehash these books without reading it, because I think we're doing a pretty good job.
You know what's going on.
If you don't have 5 minutes to read a chapter of Harry Potter and you'd rather listen to two guys in their 40s talk about that same chapter for half an hour, we got you.
Bye.
All right, Paul.
Right.
You ready to kick it off to Sir Nicholas Plumpington? I don't remember his name.
Nearly Headless Nick.
Nearly Headless Nick, who I have his Funko Pop. It's not here. It's in my bedroom on my shelf of other Funkos. He has not earned a spot on the Harry Potter shrine next to my computer, which I think I've sent pictures of it.
Pompous boy who are denying him his rightfully earned place in the
fact that I bought Nearly Headless Nick's Funko Pop is proof enough that I really do like this character. And I like him because he's barely in the movies. So, like...
It's John Cleese.
That's the thing. He's so wasted. Oh, do we want to, like, start the episode before this? Like, should we just be, like, going in, like, hot, and then we kick it in? Because you have John Cleese playing this fantastic ghost character, and all the ghosts are done a disservice in the actual movies, because in the books they are characters. Like, we never even, like, see Peeves at all in the movies, and Peeves is, like, clutch in the books, like, especially like with Dolores Umbridge when the twins eventually leave their schooling, and, like, there's, like, give her hell, Peeves. It's like, yeah, let's go. Not in the movies ever. Not at all.
Don't talk about the movies until after we're done with the book. There's this whole special episode.
It's like the Great Marvel Movie Retrospective over on Bagnum Board. Like, we are going into this book for the first time. Like, whoa, can you believe Harry's a wizard? Like, we're going in with the knowledge that we already have. So we can look at it through that lens of, reading these books and experiencing them through different forms of media, and how that impacts that rereading. Because, these books I haven't read since I first read them when they were not coming out. Because the first one I read was Goblet of Fire on release. So everything else I had read after, like, in paperback form. And Goblet of Fire was the first one, like, I went there for, like, a midnight release. And I read all of them on release from that point forward.
Also, here in the United States, like, was it Goblet of Fire we talked about it in the very first episode of this, realm of Word Books with Friends. The release schedule, because I looked that up. And, the first two books basically were already out by the time we got them here in the United States. So, and I think it was, like, either the third or fourth book that was released worldwide all at the same time. So,
yeah, that sounds right from what you said before. But hey, who are we?
Hey,
what are we doing?
Hey guys.
Who are you? Who am
friends. Welcome to another episode of Word Book with Friends. I'm Paul.
I'm Chris. Hi.
And we're here to talk about Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Chapter 8, and that's Death Day Party. This week's episode is, of course, sponsored by Party City. Now that they're closed, they can only cater for Death Day parties. All locations, soon to be a Spirit of Halloween store.
Fantastic job, Paul. As soon as you said Party City, I was like, oh, that's good. That's a good one. Well done. Well done. So I know
this chapter is called Death Day Party, and it's only like, I think this chapter is only like 19, well, digitally like 19 pages long, and then, but the Death Day Party is only like 3 of them.
Yeah, it's like 5 pages. But so I know we came in hot. We were already talking about it. How dare the movies have John Cleese playing Nearly Headless Nick, and then having him for, like, a grand total of, like, 48 seconds across 8 movies. Like, wasted opportunity. And again, like, I really love this character. So when we came to Chapter 8, the Death Day Party, I was like, all right, like, I get some Nearly Headless Nick stuff. And I was like, that was it? Like, this is the chapter. I was like, oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Wait.
I was expecting
What?
to be introduced to a bunch more ghosts too, and they just kind of rehashed the ones that are mentioned.
Yeah.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Yeah.
Ahead?
Ah. Hey, no, it's October now. Cold and flu season. And witches and wizards deal with it with a pepper up potion. That seems like okay, you don't have a cold, but now you're running a fever.
I don't know. Like, I get it, because sometimes if I'm sick, what I will do is, if I make like chicken soup, like I will just load that up with hot sauce and like crushed red pepper, just to like clear out my sinuses. And if I don't have soup, because that's usually like, if it's bad enough that I'm calling out from work or I'm going home sick, I stop by the store, I'll buy a couple bottles of Gatorade and some cans of soup, and like that's it. But if I don't, and like it hits me at home, I always have chicken broth, so I'll just like put some broth on the stove, and same thing. Like I will just dash that sucker up with hot sauce and just like drink it as it is, and like that cayenne pepper's enough to loosen up my nose enough that it's like, okay, I can at least have a clear head now. I might still feel like trash, so I'm not mad at that.
Okay. Yeah. But with this dour cold and flu season is because the weather's turned,
or maybe you're being haunted by a spooky diary in Ginny's case, but everyone's just attributing it to the fact that, like, oh yeah, people are getting sick. No, no, guys.
Yeah, she drank that potion without being ill, and it's having effects. But Harry's out there in the field, getting muddy somehow. He must not be a very good keeper. The whole point of Quidditch is stay up in the air, Harry. Like, what are you doing? Like, if it's that muddy on the course, you're on a broom. Fly out to the course and fly yourself back to the castle. Like, at what point do you need to get muddy? I understand getting wet, like, in the rain.
Yeah.
Yes, we've all been there. I've had to work through rainstorms. Like, it happens, and you're soaked, and
I mean,
the worst part about working in the rain.
I live in Florida. It rains every day during the summer, and yeah, there's times I might be out, like just going to the store or at a theme park. I get soaked, but I actively try to avoid walking through anything that I know is gonna make me gross and dirty. I can deal with the wetness. I don't want to have to like clean my shoes off.
The problem with getting that wet though, like, and then getting into a car and turning on the heat to try to drive off is, man, that makes me so drowsy. It's like,
so I've learned my lesson. Again, going to theme parks and getting stuck in torrential downpours, and it's happened the most to me at Animal Kingdom. I actually keep a spare change of clothes in the back of my car, so if it does happen, I have a beach towel back there, so I can pull that out, lay that down on my seat, and I will get changed in my car. Like, I have extra like underwear, t-shirt. I have like a brewery shirt that John gave me that I keep back there, an extra pair of shorts, socks, and then I have a pair of extra shoes that are in. It's like a go bag, except it's not for any kind of like I need to flee the country. It's like in case I get wet at a theme park. Like I'm ready to go. Like I've learned my lesson.
I do keep a pair of shoes and a pair of socks in the trunk of my car at all times. I do have an extra pair of boots and a pair of socks in my work truck. Just because, my feet. Like, I plan on my feet getting wet. Like, just being out and about. But Harry doesn't plan.
Also, he's 12.
And he's just getting mud and rain, water everywhere throughout the castle. But luckily, he runs into nearly headless Nick, who just got the worst news he could possibly get. His application has been denied again. He will not take part in the headless hunt.
And I mean, and at that point, once you're dead and you're just nearly headless, like you can't finish the job. Like that's who he is. Like I feel like it should be like, hey, you're like 97% headless. Like that's enough. Like that's.
Yeah. Well, Nick's explanation for it too, being like, dude, it would have been so much easier for me and so much better for me if the axe swung and took my head clean off. I had to sit there as how many whacks did it take? He says it.
I don't know. I just remember he has like a half inch of skin, like holding it on.
Yeah, a half inch of skin and
getting hit 45 times in the neck with a blunt axe.
45 times. To have to like go through that, yeah, you get this guy something. You know?
I mean, he's got a permanent residency in Hogwarts. I guess that's something. So they never actually talk about how the ghosts came to Hogwarts. Like, are they just free to come and go as they please? Because this doesn't seem like a 13 Ghosts situation where they're like trapped in there. Like, they're not haunting the castle. Like, they just exist there and like go about their days.
Peeves is haunting the castle.
I mean, he is, but I think he's also the only one that they refer to as a poltergeist.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they never really go into the whole like, oh, you didn't move on because you have. It seems like you could almost choose to be ghost instead of moving on. But all that mud and filth has attracted the attention to a cat. Right, Mrs. Oh my goodness, why can't I think of the cat's name?
Miss Norris.
Miss Norris, the caretaker's cat of Mr. Filch. Hey, you got a meow.
Yeah, it's Toulouse. Toulouse is sitting with me recording. She loves this part of the book.
And
she's hitting my beer can with her tail though, so maybe she doesn't love it that much.
Mr. Filch sees all this mess that Harry dragged in to the castle and takes him away to his office to write up a notice. But man, nearly headless Nick does Harry a solid. We don't know where he lies in right now, but P starts making a mess upstairs, and we get a mention of a vanishing cabinet. Is it the same one?
It might. No. Well, I don't know, because I'm basing this off of my knowledge of the movies. So it could be being set up here in the books instead, because in the movies, they see it being brought into the castle. And the other one is in Borgin and Burke's.
Oh, okay.
Because
I didn't realize that was being brought into the castle, because in the movies, I heard that Draco had to mend it. I thought because the one at Borgin and Burke's was still there, right? And that's
the Borgin and Burke's one is there, but then they bring in the other one. I think it's been a while since I've watched it, but I'm pretty sure like it's being brought in, and then they have to like he has to fix it up so it works, and that's why they're sending the bird back and forth to test
the apple first, and then the bird. Yep.
I do want to say before we go to that though, Harry's being a little snoop though, going through Filch's stuff and like reading his mail though. So that's kind of an ick.
It was gross, but also it's like it seemed to be like a spam message, like a something you just kind of get in the mail, like because it's just a testimonial after testimonial for a quick spell or quick.
Yeah, it's like quick spell. A correspondence course in beginner's magic. But we also know that Filch is a squib. Like, he doesn't have magic ability. So I think he's trying to take these, like, correspondence classes so he can, like, try to learn or, like, encourage whatever spark he might have. Because, we say he doesn't have any magic as a squib. But there might be some sort of proclivity towards magic that he just hasn't fully realized yet. I don't know the specifics of how it works. So it seems like he's just maybe, like, if not actively pursuing this, he's at least not throwing out the junk mail.
Right. And also, like, come on. If you're there with a kid for like 4.5 hours, and the kid's like scrubbing and polishing up some trophies, and the kid's like, "Oh, if I could only use magic, it would be so much easier." And your whole job is just be cleaning and scrubbing, and everybody around you's like, "Oh,
I just pooped on the floor. Zoop, gone.
Magic it away."
Or
just magic it away.
There's
like,
probably like the terrible
too.
kids. There's probably terrible kids that are just pooping on the floor and leaving it there for him, though.
Yeah.
But also, why even bother having toilets if wizards are known to just like defecate and zing it away? The rules don't make sense.
Because why do it constantly if you could just all... Because nobody tells you where those toilets all end up to. So maybe there's just one big vat that they just once a week go down and like magic that all away.
I just imagine
they don't have a sewer system.
Yeah, because all the toilets just lead to the Ministry of Magic. No, maybe not. It's just those ones. I don't know. I just imagined it like the Flintstones, where they're flushing the toilets and all the like the droppings are just going somewhere, and then it cuts to like some sort of magic beast that's got like a shovel, and he's just like mashing it down a different drain. He's like, "It's a living."
At least it's the shovel.
Just mashing it down another hole somewhere else.
It's a poop golem that gets born every 7 years, and then it gets released into the Forbidden Forest.
Yes.
The Forbidden Forest has to deal with
it. Makes your detentions extra shitty. This is why you guys come here to listen to Word Books with Friends, right? Right? Are you not entertained? Yeah.
Cause a commotion.
The Death Day party already over, because as soon as Mr. Filch shows up, like, nearly Headless Nick's basically forgotten at that point. Like, he's still there, but like his story is done now, because now we're just focusing on Harry for the rest of the chapter, pretty much.
Yeah, he gets in. Harry gets, thanks Nearly Headless Nick for sending Peeves his way to get him out of trouble with Filch. He agrees to go to the Death Day party that's on October 31st, Halloween, the same day as the feast. Harry's getting some, like, little bit of, like, buyer's remorse, I'm going to call it. Because he'd rather go to the feast, but, as Hermione says, a promise is a promise. They end up going to this party filled with ghosts. They're the only 3 live people there.
So
I was surprised by.
I do want to point out the fact that
some other Gryffindors would be there, right?
You think he's their house ghost, so somebody probably would have, or unless they all just got the invite and nobody else RSVP. They all just said,
"I'm not sure."
No, I'm here.
Maybe I froze.
I'm here. Hello? I'm here. Can you see me? Hello? I think you might have froze, Paul. Can you say something? Paul? Hello? I think Paul froze everybody. He's waving.
I don't hear you, or...
I can hear you.
Okay, so you look frozen, and I don't hear you at all. So I was going to text that to you, but if you can hear me, then why would I text it?
It says we're still recording. The stream's still going on, so you can't hear me say all this, though.
Yeah, I'm still connected to the internet. I still got good connection. If it's on my end, not sure what it could be. Listen to Twitch to see if Chris is talking.
I stopped talking because I was like, oh, Paul can't hear me. I'm not going to say anything. But here I am now talking again.
Stop talking.
And I stopped because Paul said you did stop talking, but here I go again.
Okay, now I hear you on Twitch. I don't hear you over on... I don't hear you...
Okay, you're not pixelated anymore.
Oh, okay. All right. Now we're live.
Now we're live. Okay, I think you maybe just had like an internet hiccup. It happens.
Yeah, either I had an internet hiccup or just Discord did.
Yeah,
like
things happen.
I have no idea.
On our side, on the Twitch stream, it looks like everything was still going. So this will all be edited out once I get to go through and edit this episode in a month. I love having this long lead time. It makes it so much easier. I don't remember what we were talking about.
We were talking about a poop golem going into the Forbidden Forest. And then I had led it away.
Oh, we were talking about the Death Day party. There are probably at least a couple Gryffindors that received the invite, but they RSVP'd maybe because they just didn't want to say no, is what I'm guessing. And I did want to point out, too, at this point, Oingo Boingo had already been a band. So there's like a 95% chance that at this party they were playing It's a Dead Man's Party. So just think about that. Danny Elfman was probably the soundtrack to the Death Day party on Halloween at Hogwarts.
Well, I think they mentioned that this song, like the orchestra was playing like saws or something like that as well.
I mean,
like it was discordant music.
It's probably adapted.
Okay. Dead Man's Party.
It's a dead man's pie, and it's like, woo, woo, woo. Like they're ghosts. They have a brand.
That's true. The food that's there at the party is all molded.
But they can't eat. Charred. So why is there even food there?
Because they say that if it's that like far gone or that like they can almost taste it as they fly through it. Like one of the ghosts gives it a try. I don't think they even named the ghost. Like there's only like 3 other ghosts that are kind of like named or described. But one of them is the that friar that we already know about.
The Hufflepuff house ghost.
Yep. We know about Nearly Headless Nick, and then we see... Oh, yeah, Peeves shows up, and Peeves is just like trying to be mean and throw Hermione under the bus with Mourning Myrtle, who we're getting introduced to here.
Yeah. And they mentioned like her haunting the toilets.
Come up later, we all know that.
Which, again, it's Chekhov's toilet haunting ghost now at this point too. Again, like they seed a lot of stuff through these books, so it all does come back, and it's kind of one of those like, oh, okay, there was a plan here for some of this stuff.
At least some of it.
Some of
Maybe
it.
not on the long bottom front, but on some of it.
Yeah, I like this chapter in theory. It's not what I remembered it to be, because this is something that really just kind of, it happens, but then it quickly gets glossed over just at the end of the chapter, because we have that disembodied voice coming through the halls again. Harry's the only one that hears it. And this is where we get our first mention of the titular Chamber of Secrets now.
Mm-hmm. Enemy of the air, beware. The Chamber of Secrets. Well, maybe I got it backwards. Is it the Chamber of Secrets?
Yes. Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the air, beware.
And we get Mrs. Norris, petrified, hung up on the lamp, by the way.
Yeah.
So you know the snake ain't doing it.
Yeah, that should be our first hint that the snake's working alongside someone. And, it kind of becomes the blame game later on, like where everyone's kind of accusing each other of being the heir. But one of the things that I definitely pay attention to more now is anytime that they do mention Ginny, because Ginny is acting a little bit weird, and everyone's just kind of attributing it to the fact that, like, oh, she's the new girl in school. Oh, she's sick. Oh, she's a little bit starstruck by Harry. Like, but no, I think the writing's on the wall when it comes to Ginny. Oh, hey, that's chapter 9, the writing on the wall. We're not talking about that yet.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts about this chapter, kind of like closing it out?
No, it's kind of like just this like kind of weird, like, hey, let's meet some more side characters, but then not introduce many more side characters.
It's kind of
it's like a reintroduction of who the ghost characters are.
Yeah, and it's giving them story, but that story really doesn't need to be a thing. It's kind of a filler chapter. Like, it's a filler episode of a TV show where the only thing that matters is the last like 5 minutes, because that's just what leads you into the next actual episode of the story arc. Like, that's really what this chapter is. So again, we don't talk about the movie while we're talking about the book, but I feel like that's why the movie really just glosses through this, and it's just like, oh, they find the message on the wall, like, just as they're like walking through the halls one night. Like, that's it.
Yeah. Oh, I kind of like would have liked a visualist like representation of the Death Day party, but I understand why it's cut. Yeah.
They didn't want to cut John Cleese that check.
No. Nope.
And they were
not.
wrong for that, because such a treasure.
No. I think our listeners would be wrong if they refused to listen to the next episode of Word Books with Friends coming out next week. But if you wanted to, you could already hear probably, I don't know if we're going to record the next 4 episodes a week in advance before the last of the set.
I'm okay with recording them when it lines up with our schedule. Like, if we have a chance to do this, like if it's like next week and we get 4 done further in advance, or if it's like the week that they're due, we knock it out the day before because I just cut and paste. Who knows?
Yeah, but if you want to join us over at twitch.tv, just keep an eye out on our Instagram page, where Chris is doing an awesome job keeping everybody updated on our streaming schedule. So,
I mean, you can say our screaming schedule because it's, Halloween in this chapter, so, Death Day party, it's themed well.
Man, he missed all those huge gourds, all those huge pumpkins that Hagrid, grew. He had to just walk on by them. On a scaredy cat. All right, bye.
Bye.